let's focus on the TypeSense client library. Okay, so what we are doing is we are requiring the TypeSense library that we installed a few moments ago, this one. Then we are creating a new client, and we are doing that by using the new operator in JavaScript on the TypeSense.client class. So this is a class in the TypeSense client library that represents a typical TypeSense client. Okay, so there are a lot of clients going on here. Now, for newing up a new client, you will have to provide some information. So first one is the list of nodes. I will explain what this is, no worries. And then the API key, and finally the connection timeout seconds. Okay, so let's begin from the list of nodes. So TypeSense is actually a highly available service. Okay, so you can have multiple instances of TypeSense servers if you need in a high traffic website. Let's say you have let's say you are working for the largest news site for your country, so people will come in every day and do a lot of searches. So in those cases, you may need to spin multiple instances of a TypeSense server. So if so you can balance the load between them properly. Okay, so it can be a little hard to understand if you have never worked with high availability and things like that, but no worries, you can just work with a single node here. So a node is a TypeSense server, and a node must have a host, a port, and a protocol. So in our case, the host is localhost, but if in a real life scenario, if you're making a bookshop, it can be something like search.book.shop. Okay, so in a real life scenario, you may use something like this instead of localhost. Then there's the port, 8108. So my server is running on 8108, so I'll just use that here. Finally, the protocol. It can be either HTTP or it can be HTTPS. I'm on my local system again, so it will be HTTP for me. Okay, so once you have finished defining the nodes in the array, you can go ahead and type in your API key. So in a real life scenario, you will have to load this API key from an .env file or maybe some other secure way. You should never put your API keys and things like that within the source code. It's a very bad practice, and it can cause a lot of issues. Finally, there is a connection timeout in seconds, which is 2 seconds. So TypeSense will keep a connection open for 2 seconds, and if it doesn't respond within that time frame, it will just close that. If you want to configure a multi-node TypeSense client here, you can just go ahead and read the high availability part in how-to section. Okay, yeah, here. So they have really good documentation. You can just follow along and configure your client like this. So now we have only one node, but you can have multiple within this array. Okay, so yeah, that's it for the client. So now we have a client, and we can use this client object to talk to our TypeSense server. The next concept that you have to understand is the concept of a schema. So a schema within the context of TypeSense is it's sort of the shape of your individual data. So if TypeSense knows about your books, it also has to know what data your books have. So each of our books have a title, they have authors, they have an image, they have publication year, ratings count, and average rating, all of this. So we will have to actually create an schema here. This is the name of the schema. Then these are the fields. So within this array, you can define as many fields as you want. Okay. So each field in this array must have a name. So our first field is named title and it's of type string. The next one is named authors and it's of also type string but an array of string. Okay. And ignore faceting for now. I will explain faceting in detail later on in this session. So ignore facet true for now. Okay, so each of our fields must have a name and a type. Now, if I go to their API reference in the collection part, you can see what is required. So each of your books must have a name and a fields. That's what we have done. We have defined a name here and fields here. And inside the fields array, you can have multiple types of data, and there is a list of them. So you can have a string, you can have integers, float, booleans, and geopoints. You can also have arrays of these data types, except of geopoint. Now you can also use auto if you're not sure about the type of the data you are getting, but that's another scenario. If you'd like to learn about that, I would suggest go ahead and read the documentation on that topic. Okay. So okay, going forward, now that we have a schema, and the default sorting field in the lets TypeSense know that TypeSense should sort the data by default using the ratings count. So if a book has more ratings, it will be ranked higher on the search result, and if a book has less ratings, then it will be ranked lower on the search results. Okay, then finally we are ready to index the data. Now that we have a schema, you must have this schema thing. Okay, so yeah, there are multiple methods within this client object. So there is a method called collections and then create. So what this line is doing is it will create a collection within the TypeSense server database called books, following the books schema. Okay, so I have already explained what collections are and what documents are. So this is us creating that collection, sort of the database for all our books inside TypeSense. Okay, so this is an asynchronous function. It returns a promise, so we can chain then call after that. So once this script has created a collection, we are ready to insert our data. So inside the callback for the then function, we will use something called readline. Now readline is one of the built-in modules of Node.js. If you are experienced in Node.js, you may have already worked with readline. What it lets you do is it provides you an interface for reading data from a readable stream. I don't know how to explain that better, but streams are already a little complicated thing, but I'll try my best. So we are creating an interface here for reading data, and this create interface method takes an input and an output. Okay, so as an input, we are using the books.jsonl file, and in Node.js, to read or write from or to a file, you must use the FS or file system module. It's another built-in module within Node.js, and you can just read about it on the Node.js documentation. Okay, so you are turning terminal false so that readline doesn't treat it as an TTY. Again, it's a little complicated to explain, but that's not important here. Okay, so after we have created an interface, we will call on, and within this on call, we will have another callback function. Okay, so within this callback function, we will have each line from this books.jsonl file. So what will happen, readline will open this index books.jsonl file, read each line from that file and put it inside the line variable or parameter. Okay, then we can use json.parse to parse the book data from this line and put it inside the book document. So now that we have a parsed JSON information in our hand, we can actually hand it over to TypeSense. So the client.collections method, as you can see here, can also take a parameter called the collection name. So by saying client.collections and passing books as a parameter, we are saying the client to use this collection for the upcoming operations. Okay, so then we are going inside documents and we are creating a new document using this JSON object, sort of JSON string sort of, and then we are just printing out the book document.title. Now I understand that this entire file may seem a little bit complicated to you because that's what it is, but in a real life scenario you won't have to read from files like this. You will have your data ready from a data store and you can just loop over them, turn them into JSON, and then send them off to TypeSense. Okay, so now we will execute this script and see what happens. So I'll go into my repositories directory. I have in cd data. Yeah. So now we can go just node data indexer.js. So we are just executing the file. Enter, and there is an error. But there is, oh yeah. Okay, seems like the data already exists in my data directory. Oh yeah, yes. Okay, just give me a moment and I clear the data from my database. Yes. That should be now, but let's just okay, yeah. Now there should be no data at all in my server. Sorry for that. I was testing out things last night. Okay, let's try executing our script once again. Yeah, it works now. So as you can see, the script is sending off each of the book to our TypeSense database or TypeSense server, and it's being persisted within the TypeSense database. So there is a lot of books, almost 1,000. Is it possible to link TypeSense with my HarperDB database? Maybe it's possible, Charu. You can just go to the TypeSense documentation and there are how-tos for a lot of databases, although they do not have HarperDB here, but I believe it can be done. It can be done because if you have server-side applications such as Node.js in between, then you can obviously map the data from HarperDB to TypeSense. I guess there are better ways to do it. I'll just do my research and let you know once I have some information in my hand. Is it possible to delete an individual document from a TypeSense collection in TypeSense? Yeah, that's absolutely possible. In fact, if you go to the API references and go inside documents, you can find delete documents. Okay, so I'll just go there. I will go to JavaScript. Yeah, so you can just call client collections documents, give it the ID of the documents, and then call delete, and it will just get rid of the data completely. Okay, you can also delete by query here. You can just filter by maybe you want to delete all the books of J.K. Rowling. Maybe you don't like her writing, then you can do that as well. You can filter by name of the author, and you can delete all of those in one go, and it will return the number of deleted documents. Okay,